a strange energy in here, a strange tension in here. Everyone is a bit elevated, and Zaslow's here.
Yo.
And Stugotz is here, and they are parallel, sort of opposed on Knicks and Heat. I don't think Zaslow wants to come in here and be talking about the Knicks the way that program director Stugotz of WFAT wants to talk about the Knicks.
The Heat are done. The Knicks are alive and well. I mean,
I would never listen to this station.
You'll be fine, though, at 9:45. Christopher Mad Dog Russo.
Yeah, how about, what a treat for me. That's my guy. Oh, I perk up hearing that. That is great news.
But that's part of WFAT's wall-to-wall Knicks coverage. Jessica came in here. I've never seen her so aligned with someone like Josh Hart.
Go, New York. Go, New York. Go.
We've got Zaslow sort of rejecting. This is a worst-case scenario, right? It's not just that the Heat aren't playing. It's that the two teams that are going to be playing at the end in the Eastern Conference are the two teams he least wants to see playing.
I can't believe I have to make a case for why I'd be okay with the Knicks in the NBA Finals. Because I will make that case. It can't be Boston.
What do you mean it can't be? It's going to be.
It's going to be Boston.
I hate them. I would much prefer the Knicks. My hatred for the Knicks is so much less right now than the Celtics.
My man.
This is interesting. So basically, because the Celtics have been better for the last 20 years, you've forgotten everything the Knicks did to you 20 years ago.
Okay, but we've also played the Celtics in the playoffs more, historically, than the Knicks.
Yeah, but there have never been fights with the Celtics that get everybody on both teams suspended.
Oh, it doesn't matter, though. We played them so much recently. I can't stand those people in the stands. I can't stand their players. Jaylen Brown's a goon. I don't like that team.
This is the lesser of the two evils, the Knicks.
Be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you do it on WFAT, Dano.
Jaylen Brown's not a goon.
Oh, he's a goon.
Total goon.
Nobody says that about. Who says that about Jaylen Brown?
Everyone.
I say that.
Yeah, but are you the only one? No one else says. What do you mean everyone says that?
People will follow in line now. They're going to hear that. Like, you know, that's Zazzle. He's right. He's a goon.
I just did.
Yeah, but you're a follower.
Yeah, true.
What do you mean Jaylen Brown's a goon?
You saw what he tried to break Duncan Robinson's arm. And then Caleb Martin, he's a big tough guy. Jaylen Brown, you saw Jaylen Brown looked around the floor. Like, oh, that's right, Jimmy's not playing. Okay, I can try to be a tough guy.
Sports radio.
WFAT.
Jeremy just said in my ear, he's right. That's not the ally you want on this, Zaslow.
Falling in line.
I'll take it.
At least I didn't say it out loud.
Roy.
Hi.
Why is your mic so hot?
I don't know. I didn't touch it.
He's excited today, Dan. Had a pep in his step when he walked in.
That wasn't even a scream. Well, that was the step of a person who has a hangover. Yeah.
That happens to you a lot.
You worked last night.
No. I was after the game. You know, a bit of a celebration for splitting the series.
I was drinking throughout the game, too, last night. That was a good night. Roy, I'm with you, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I had for dinner last night? Some pasta.
Really?
Been sitting on that one all night.
That was
You've been
amazing.
wanting to make you look like someone who has pasta for dinner late every night.
What does that mean?
Because Kachuk beat up pasta.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's
a
a
guy named
Pasta?
That was the best moment of my life.
Name.
That was the best moment of my life.
You have a daughter.
Really?
I almost punched
I believe it.
my friend next to me. I was so fired up when Kachuk knocked him out that I just wanted to. I legitimately was. Dude, you didn't. Tony didn't see it.
If that is the best moment of your life, A, get a life. B, I would like to hear your top 5 moments in life.
He has a daughter.
Jessica, why are you? Well, he just put this ahead of the having of the daughter. Why are you looking at Tony that way? Because he continues to not know anything about hockey in a way that's aggressively Cuban?
You don't even know pasta?
Who's that? I have no idea.
He's the guy who got his ass kicked last night.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat from the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. concussion. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for war, man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right girls, let her tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
WFAT. When your team is losing and you wanna fight, WFAT will make you feel alright. When your dreams of glory have come to an end, WFAT will be your greatest friend. WFAT, from sea to shining sea, our callers are doing our jobs for free at WFAT.
Outside of Jorge Sedano, I don't think there's anyone in the history of this market who knows where Stugotz's skeletons are buried more than Zaslow. He has seen every incarnation of the Stugotz.
Yep.
From hungry to lazy to what you are right now, Stugotz, which is fully engaged. This is, Stugotz is working 5 days this week. It's the first time I can remember that, and I do not know how long, and it's because the Knicks matter, and he is now programming WFAT. I am not happy with our guest list today, which is New York aggressive, and Zazzle, I'm going to need your help beating some of this back because Stugotz is... you always want to harness the maximum Stugotz energy, but the New Yorkization of what it is that we're doing around here makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, you guys are feeling so good right now. You're gonna come crashing down soon, though. It looks like your team's breaking down a little bit. Jaylen Brunson, OG Anunoby, only so many injuries you could take.
OG was great last night. I got to tell you, he kept us in the game when Brunson went out. In that
Enjoy it while you
quarter.
can.
Yeah, what do you mean while I can?
While you can.
I'm
Enjoy it while you can.
Zazzle, I haven't enjoyed this in 30 years. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. Yes.
I will say a couple of things about what is happening here that is wonderful to watch. One, it's the most lovable Knicks team of my lifetime, bar none. You can have whatever it is that you hate about those jerseys.
It might be the only.
But those players, Josh Hart playing more minutes than Wilt Chamberlain, like think about that for a second. Yeah. I mean, that's classic Thibodeau.
Right.
But playing more minutes than Wilt Chamberlain, and this team is now representing when Jaylen Brunson comes out in the second half and like doubles down on we're maximum underdogs. We come back from all odds. We can overcome anything with our heart, our Josh Hart and our Hartenstein. We're gonna with our heart on. We're on our sleeves.
Got it.
Last night, I hope that I'm wrong about this, but last night felt like the apex of the Knicks season because all of these injuries are going to be really tough to play with for the rest of the series. And if they somehow move on, playing against Boston with players that are going to have to contribute minutes that haven't played all season might be kind of tough. But last night was the apex because they won at MSG again against the Pacers, a tough game. And Josh Hart, who is your favorite Knicks fan's favorite Knick, had words to say to Reggie Miller.
Did you?
I think that's a you.
I want to address basically everything that's happening there because I don't think New York understands that that's not the flex they think it is to remember how he tore your heart out with 8 points in 9 seconds 30 years ago.
I don't want to hear about Reggie Miller. I mean, he has somehow inserted himself into this series. I am tired of Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller was 9-33 for his career on the road against the Knicks. He had 9 seconds. 9 seconds Take those 9 seconds away, and Reggie Miller, according to Dan, who was asked by Boog Shambi at the Versace Mansion many, many years ago, Reggie Miller, not a Hall of Famer.
Great moment.
I am tired of hearing about Reggie Miller. Inserting himself, and I don't want the Knicks to focus on him anymore. It's over. It was 30 years ago. He's overrated. He had 9 seconds, again, 9 and 33.
Here's the thing, though.
The Knicks on the road.
The only thing you remember about Knicks Pacers are Pacer victories.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers about the Knicks doing anything good. He could be 9 and 1,000. Nobody remembers about the Knicks winning any of those games. It's Reggie Miller, all those points in a few seconds, and Patrick Ewing missing a layup. Pat Riley quits and comes to the Miami Heat. Because get out of here, New York. Who cares?
I mean, all I remember about the 90s is Michael Jordan. So this is like a real argument for second place here in the East. But the Reggie Miller was inserted by TNT onto this broadcast. This is usually just a two-man crew.
Yeah, he didn't just show up and say, I'm working tonight.
And they were like, we're putting him on this broadcast even though it's at MSG. And Knicks fans are going to be furious about it. So Josh Hart was reminding him, hey, by the way, buddy, you're still not welcome here.
They followed him down the tunnel like if he was playing in the game. You know how they do like the inserts of like, here's Steph Curry walking to the Garden. It was like Reggie Miller about to broadcast. I was like,
What I'm telling you about New York advancing to this space that makes the sport better, that they haven't been to in a long time, is that you could rummage around, and you have to rummage around to get the excellence out of the Knicks history into the past. And what you find, to me, if Reggie Miller is one of the great villains in the history of sports, what a compliment that you can't shut up about his 9 seconds from 30 years ago. The dude's almost 60. The dude's almost 60, and a whole arena is chanting about how bad he made them feel 30 years ago.
He's not even the best basketball player in his own family. I want to hear about it from Reggie Miller. I really
Thank
do.
you.
Name
Thank you,
another
Stugotz.
Reggie Miller moment. Go ahead. I dare you. Name one.
When he pushed up Michael Jordan, he hit that three-pointer. And then he jumped around center court. It's a good moment.
He's in the Hall of One moment. I mean, that's what he is.
The fight against Michael Jordan.
Stugotz was going to make that Hall of One moment joke no matter how many examples you gave him.
The Hall of 9 seconds.
I would love to have, if I were a villain and I did something and the middle of New York was singing my name 30 years later because of 9 seconds of my villainy that I gave them.
It was a tough 9 seconds.
Holy shit. I mean, how memorable is that? I just can't think for many greater compliments that a sports villain can get than to make that arena feel for the first time like it felt back when you were playing because you're invested in stakes.
It made every Knicks fan hate Spike Lee when it happened. Everyone blamed Spike Lee.
You're right.
For Anthony Mason throwing the ball away.
No, for inciting him, for pissing off Reggie Miller. The moment is, and Spike Lee showed up with his Reggie Miller. Spike Lee showed up. I don't know how he got the contraband into the arena, given that James Dolan confiscates everything and suspends people with surveillance.
Yeah. Breaking down something that happened 30 years ago. WFAT.
That's what it is,
yes.
baby. And so last night, Carlisle gets ejected, and they have sent, I'm not making
Enough
this.
of him.
I am not making this number up. They have sent 78 missed calls to the league office from the first 2 games.
Okay.
That is unbelievable. I mean, Rick Carlisle, how about you spend some time, stop cutting up tape, stop looking through the film to find where the missed fouls were. How about you spend your time coaching your team?
WFAT.
Some adjustments, anything.
Who gets the report and like, all right, give it to that guy in the back to review these calls? Like, whose awful job is that to sift through 78 calls that Rick Carlisle, not like our officials, that Rick Carlisle thinks is questionable? That's a shit.
There's no way they actually review it, right? They get that paper with all the links, and they're like, just don't worry about it.
Send them an email back that it's under consideration,
under review,
and just throw it in the
We're
trash
investigating.
Can.
They're investigating. That's what you say.
I do need to stop Stugotz on something though, because whatever you think the differences are between Carlisle and Thibodeau. Carlisle, before the last round, hadn't won a playoff series since when? 2011? When was the last time that he won?
Since they won the championship in Dallas.
Playoff series. But whatever you think the difference is between Carlisle and Tibbs, when Stugotz says, how about you coach your team? this is doing that. Trying to manipulate the officiating when the officiating decided game one, Stugotz.
Yeah.
Trying to manipulate officiating, that is part of coaching now.
Coaching your team is playing T.J. McConnell, who's been maybe your best player through the first 2 games. Play him in the second half. I mean, he's guarding Brunson better than anyone. Play him in the second half.
I mean, listen,
that's coaching your team.
You're talking about T.J. McConnell. I'm over there watching Pasternak get punched in the face by Nadkarni last night.
Yeah.
I mean, T.J. McConnell, who cares? I mean, you see how hard he hit.
Talking hockey right now?
What are you talking about?
Come on. Knicks did not get a lot of love from me last night. Panthers, yes. Thank you, God. Thank you.
Look at Roy, buoyant and hungover. Has anyone in the history of the show showed up more for work hungover than Roy? Is he the league leader in the history of this show?
Chris Cody.
I don't know.
I don't
He
really
certainly
drink on
hasn't
school
said.
nights.
He certainly hasn't said it as often as you are.
If it's not a school night, though, I'm getting after it. But
Greg
not on school
Cody?
nights.
Great Cody.
Greg Cody's got some endurance. He doesn't come in. He doesn't come in broken from his dozen beers in the garage the night before. You're the amateur who comes in here perpetually broken because you don't know how to moderate your drink.
I just show up, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
I come here, man.
I know you come here, man, and you do so hungover more than anybody because they got drunk on goals last night. The Panthers
That was good.
did.
That's a
6
good
of them.
segue.
A six-pack, Dano.
And better than that, because Panther fans are going to like this part. It's not
Go
just
on.
that you win 6-1. It's that you're actually winning the violence.
Yes.
You won the stick your tongue out at them game.
That's right. Montour, I love you, baby.
Yeah, the thing was, though, it was Boston that resorted to thuggery, not
Yep.
Florida. It was Boston, and he lost.
Boston started the thuggery. Florida finished the thuggery. But you guys were very excited by the tongue off.
So good.
You're going to explain it to Tony, please, because
Excuse
Tony
me?
Tony is learning everything. Tony, I need you to pay even just glancing attention to what's
But
happening
Dan, me
in
and
this
Billy
series.
told you, don't worry about it until they get to the Stanley Cup Final.
Yep.
Then we're going to get locked in. But right now,
You're
there's nothing for
nuts
us
not
to do.
paying attention. There's so much fun stuff about that game last night. Monty sticking out his tongue at Marchand last night. Pasternak eating that fist. Oh, my God. How about that Pasternak? Can I tell you, did you see him when he turned around to his coach? He goes, can I fight? He asked his coach if he could fight. He asked him, he said, the mean guy, the bully on the other team. Am I allowed to fight him? And then pop! Planted him. Fist right in his mouth. Let me tell which camera? Is that camera?
Yeah.
Listen, Pasternak, you want to fight someone, you fight me.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Which is more true here, that Zaslow sounds like Maximum Sports Radio, or with the backward cap and the entire look, looks like somebody on spring break in Daytona Beach?
It's all right. We're turning back the clock here, baby.
He is Mad Dog before Mad Dog, because we've got Mad Dog coming on here on WFAT in about 25 minutes. You've never spoken to him
No,
before?
I have several times, but he's my
But you're
hero.
very excited.
Yeah,
But,
very
but
excited.
you and
Yes.
Stugotz both have some of the cadence copycatting that comes from knowing what it is that Mad Dog was in sports radio back when he was inventing it.
He is a major influence on me.
Yep.
The funny thing about the tongue off, as you referenced, that is actually a troll because Brad Marchand actually licked the player.
Yeah, he licked the
That's
guy.
right, last year, right?
No, it wasn't last year. It
Few
was a couple
years
years ago.
ago. Yeah.
It was Ryan Callahan of the Rangers when he did that. He
The guy who was
literally-
on the call last night?
Yeah, it was Ryan Callahan. Yeah.
This is a rare thing that we saw last night because this is not just a regular fight. This is the best player on each team, which you rarely see fight. I mean, Kachuk is like he's an
agitator, but he's not really a fighter.
but he
Not
never
really a fighter.
fights. And that one was so cool to see because they talked about it before. They're looking at each other on the bench, and it's like, you want to go? Let's go. Oh my God!
Pretty please. Have you ever seen a player ask their coach for permission to fight? Here's permission to get knocked out. That's right.
So good.
I think it was the 11th and 12th misconduct that period. It was a fight.
They were handing out 10 minutes like candy.
Yeah. It was, oh, man, it was just a sight to see, man. It was a beautiful game.
But why are we getting on Roy for celebrating? Because there are very few things in life that are better than knotting up a series at one game apiece.
Oh, absolutely.
Worthy of a
Absolutely.
celebration.
Going up 2-0
Yes,
to the
absolutely.
Panthers, a little better.
When you're down 1-0 and you knot it up at one game apiece, that is worthy of a celebration. It is.
Yep,
Kept your
absolutely.
season alive.
Can you guys help me manage one of these situations? Because I don't know how to do this in the modern age because I am just so tired after so many years of doing this, having all of the conversations around the refereeing and the officiating in the deciding of games. But when Carlisle gets ejected and they flood the league office with 78 complaints about missed calls through 2 games, I don't want to do wah from Knicks fans, which is what they'll do when the moment they lose a game late against Philadelphia, those fans will do the same thing, and then fans on the other side will do the wah, stop with your whining and whimpering.
He's feeding that narrative that the NBA is rigged. He's saying small markets should get the same chances, same opportunities as big markets.
That's not what he's doing. He's just setting up the calls for Game 3, going back to his building.
I get it, Zaz. There's no need to say it, though. Rick Carlisle.
No, there is need to say it.
Won a
Because then the
championship.
referees, it's human nature.
He won a championship in market number 5. Do me a favor. How have the Knicks been the last 30 years? How have they been?
So are you not going to help
Washington?
me? You're not going to help me further this discussion because you want to keep doing the rinse repeat of every time there's a call, we come on the next day and argue about the call, and we have the same argument for 25 years about this?
I don't like it either, but Rick Carlisle made a pretty crazy accusation after the game. I understand why he's doing it, but he's essentially saying he feels like the series is rigged.
But how do we do that? How do I and the in the content business, the thing that I'm asking you about, because Jaylen Brunson has become a genuine phenomenon.
Good player.
He's not just a good player. He's a good player, even though you're left to wonder, how does he do all of that, given his size and speed? This is a little confusing. There are not physical gifts out there that would suggest to me that when this guy comes back, Stugotz, in the second half, to MVP chance, I'm not joking when I say this, in that building, moments like that, you got to go back 60 years for a fan base to fall in love with Willis Reed in the finals, because what you're giving New York is the feeling of, wait, maybe with you, we can do this with you because of how tough you are, because of how much we love this team, because you are a team that Knicks believe they will find a way no matter what the issue is, because Josh Hart will play 48 minutes and Brunson will limp out of the locker room. And it's exactly the kind of team any fan base wants to have. The one that gets swamped in the first half. Brunson goes to the locker room. Fear sweeps through all of New York because he's going to be done for the playoffs. What does this mean? We've got no chance without him. And Anunoby, he's going to go for almost 30, and then he's out at the end of the game. And you withstand that, even though what's on your bench is Charlie Brown, a guy named Charlie Brown, and Alec Burks?
Yeah, I love Alec Burks, though. He can give you 22 on any given night.
He gave you 1 minute last night.
Well, 1 minute, but he can. Regular season, check out the
1
numbers.
minute last night.
I think,
a single minute he gave you last
well,
night.
he'll play more minutes going forward here. I think Jess was right. We saw an Apex last night because the Brunson story, his individual story, and the Knicks story somehow got better. Like, I didn't think that was possible, and somehow it got better. I have no idea how he injured his foot. I don't care if he injured his foot. If he purposely left in the second quarter to get that in the third quarter, good for Jaylen Brunson. That is a heady play. But, Dan, the story got better last night.
A couple of Knicks fans agreeing with each other.
Yeah.
I know what they're doing. I can see it now. They're talking about this being the apex of the season. Just setting it up for once they beat Indy, heading over to Boston, maybe getting one on the road in Boston. All of a sudden, that becomes the apex of the season. So they're setting it up for down the road.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I thought was the biggest moment last night, right at the end of the second, when Forsling puts the Panthers up 3-1. Huge. That was a big moment.
I left my seat there because he literally scored with, what, like 0.3 seconds left?
1.3, yeah.
And I admit, I left my seat. I had to get a
Hold on.
bathroom.
Wow.
Hold
bathroom
on. Get
early.
the video. Get the Roy Bellamy tweet. I love how Roy tweets from games. You're saying right now that it's 1.3 seconds, but I saw on my timeline last night that Roy Bellamy tweeted that happened with 0.3 seconds left.
They added a second.
But you didn't. Your tweet had 0.3 of a second on it when
he was drunk.
The clock said 0.3.
You got out there too quick with it.
No, it literally said 0.3.
Rather be first than right.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Rather be
debatable.
first than right. Yeah.
You wanted people to say Roy had it first?
Yes.
Roy Bellamy.
Roy had what first?
He
The
reported, yes. But
Something wrong.
Roy's
But
tweet.
who cares? He had it first.
Roy's tweets are one of the greatest things in the history of the written word and sports because he just tells you matter-of-factly in Roy's total character what just happened.
Is he Hockey Magic Johnson?
Wait a minute. That's insulting.
1,000%.
That is
He's
insulting.
not as
insulting.
enthusiastic, but I think since Tony hasn't been paying attention at all, what I do before I come into work
I've been keeping an eye
is
on
I
him.
read Roy's tweets because they're very informative and you will know exactly what happened in the game. All you need to do, you don't have to watch the game, just read Roy's tweets and you will know. Listen to the hockey show also with Roy and David.
But that's on Fridays, though. This game was yesterday.
That's
so
true,
it's
but
tough.
it will
point.
keep you informed week to week. And then you don't have to watch the games. You can just pay attention to whatever Roy says. Roy's doing a good job. He's doing
With
God's
0.3
work.
seconds left, Gustav Forsling with a clapper to make it 3-1 Florida.
It says right there, 0.3 seconds.
That might as well be in Mandarin for me. I don't know who.
You want to know
is
what
Gustav Forsling one guy,
clapper.
two guys?
One guy.
Like Gustav passed to Forsling with a clapper to make it 3-1.
like the
Never heard the
Barkov,
name
like
Gustav.
the Barkov line. Do you want? You want to know the definition? You want Roy's working definition with a clap of a
A
clapper?
clapper, yeah, I have no idea what it is.
It's a slap shot.
Roy then later
I like a
corrected.
clapper too.
Roy then later corrected. Make that 1.3. They put a second back on the clock.
Oh, but
so
look at that. He changed it from a clapper to a bomb.
Yeah, there are multiple ways to describe a slap shot.
Right.
And I went with an alternate way there.
Stugotz, when a fan base falls in love with a team, there are multiple ways in basketball to fall in love the best. When you have the guy who's scoring more than anyone else in the playoffs, which is what Brunson went into that game doing, but also, God almighty, do fans love this part of it. When you don't know where you're going to get it from on a certain night, and then that guy does what Anunoby does in the first half, where you're like, wait a minute, that's not the offensive player that he is, but they need it, and you're getting it in different spots. Josh Hart in this postseason, I don't recognize this player.
He's been great.
He is not a 45% shooter from three, and he's not somebody who routinely scores 19 points a game. But if you look at his game logs, there are a lot of 17 rebound games in there.
Yep.
Josh Hart, for a 210-pound guy, is exactly the kind of guy when Jessica says he's your favorite Knicks fan's favorite Knick. He plays exactly, him and Hartenstein play exactly the way you fall in love with the grit guys.
He rebounds at a clip where he looks like he's 6'10".
Yeah.
And then you realize he's 6'4". He's just skying over bigs, over everybody to get rebounds. You can lock him in for double-digit rebounds every single night from that position. Is crazy.
He had 15 last night. He's been great. And Dan's right. Like, that's the beauty of this team. That's why we've fallen in love with this team. You're going to get what you're going to get from Jaylen Brunson every single night. You have no idea who your number two is going to be on any given night.
They're trying so hard.
Yeah.
The Knicks.
Yeah, you only have 5 choices.
To be the Miami Heat.
Right.
They're trying so
What
hard.
are you talking about? The Heat are out.
We did this last year. We did the same thing. Everything you're saying right now, replace it with Heat players' names. They're trying so. They saw what the Heat did us. They're like, man, I wish that was us. They're trying so hard to be the Miami Heat. That's what they're doing.
He's right.
He's not wrong. Gabe Vincent and Max Strus
No, he is
were
wrong.
crazy
Caleb
last
Martin.
year.
Oh, Jaylen Brunson, he's the best closer. We didn't know he was this good. Just replace everything you just said about Jaylen Brunson with Jimmy Butler. Oh, I didn't know he's 45% from three. Okay, replace the name with Jimmy Butler. It's the same. Every game's close. The Heat pull it out. They hit tons of threes. They play good defense. They play hard. Nobody thought they was good. They wish they were the Miami Heat.
We're going for the Heat. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
But, well, a championship organization. Yeah,
Right.
like makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Could do a lot worse.
Right.
Yeah, like being the Knicks last 600
Hard
years.
to do better. Yeah, you're right.
I'm really surprised that Zaslow doesn't have that old Knicks hatred in his gut. Because
He hates Boston more, Dan.
understood, but Boston didn't bring the physical fights. Boston didn't bring the opposing coaches hanging on to Alonzo Mourning's ankle at the center of the court.
I think yesterday was 25 years since Allen Houston. I think that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Rough day.
That shot that he's talking about is Pat Riley sobbing at his desk after that game, realizing he's got to blow up his whole team. Like in the locker room, that shot. And it's faded. God, it's good to have him back. It is. I've missed them. It's decades of irrelevance, plural. I have missed this so much, this team mattering in this sport. The part that really messes with my mind, though, I'm having difficulties with liking the actual players. Tony, not that this is usually the subject matter that we have here on WFAT, but what is your problem with the Catholic clergy?
Oh, Dan, I thought you'd never ask me. So this goes back, the beef between me and the Catholic clergy goes back to Easter, the day before Easter, right? So I'm at a Catholic service because my wife's cousin is getting married in the church, but they were doing it kind of different, whatever. So we're at this huge Easter Mass. And Dan, I don't know if you've ever been to an Easter Mass before. They were getting all of the sacraments in at one time. So we had kids doing first communions. We have kids getting baptized that are like 2 years old. We have people getting...
It's a show. It's a big show.
It's like a 4-hour Mass.
Which one's the big one, Christmas or Easter?
Easter. From what I saw, Easter, because I was there for 4 hours. It was
thought
insane.
they did it all the night before, like the Easter Vigil Mass.
Yeah, that's what I was at.
So it was like Saturday night.
Saturday night,
oh,
exactly.
Yeah. Don't go to that. Rookie mistake.
I was promised, hey, hour in and out. We're going to see them tie the knot. Everything's great. I'll see you guys later. We're going to go to the ale house. Like, whatever, right? So as I'm sitting there, hour 1 goes through. They sing like 40 songs. Hour 3 like, I'm at a place where I'm like, all right, we got to get out of here.
But how many baptisms? You're saying it's
20
all of
baptisms.
It's confirmations. It's communions.
Everything.
It's
literally
It's
every
when all
sacrament.
the converted Catholics also get
Yes.
confirmed, I believe.
Yes.
So there's like it's a special moment for
you
a
guys
lot
are
of people.
but it's a clearance sale of
Yes.
Catholicism.
Yes.
Like, it's just everything.
It's everybody in one. Just, you're getting communions, you're getting little breads, you're getting things. Babies are getting dunked in the thing. Old people are getting dunked in the thing. It was crazy, right? So they get to a point, Jess, maybe you can help me on what things are called.
If I remember, I will try
Okay.
to help. I was just thinking about when you mentioned babies getting dunked in the baptismal font. I thought about during COVID when they were like, hey, this is like, we're going to get germs. Instead, we're going to spray these babies with
the
like
spray
the
bottle.
spray guns full of like baptism water, holy water. Oh, man, those were crazy times.
So, Dan, let me set the scene. There's 400 people in this church, right? It's kind of muggy, if you want me to be honest. A little hot in there. They're singing songs, lights are going on and off, people standing up and down. Like, I'm not used to it, right? Whatever. I'm there just enjoying the ride, just making sure that we watch, which ends up being the very last thing, by the way.
But were you trying to do a move of go to the Saturday Mass so that you get your Sunday for free, you get your religion?
No, I still had to go Sunday.
Oh, you had to go.
I still had to go
days.
Sunday. Yeah, I still had to go Sunday. This was more for, hey, they're getting their marriage blessed. We have to go watch it. So the entire family's there, and at a certain point, they do the spritzing of the holy water for people, right? So people come up, they get the holy water. All of a sudden,
You mean like they like sprinkle it on you? It's not like they mix Aperol into it. Just want to make
Correct.
Make
It's
that
Not
clear.
spritzing. It's with the chains and the.
so all of a sudden, El Papa or whoever it was, the cardinal, I don't know the names. He
It's probably the bishop of the
the
diocese.
bishop. So
I'm guessing.
he gets like this, like, imagine like a mop, but like a little mop, right? It has like these like strings of yarn or whatever. So he's going around people and just kind of like Like P.D. Pablo putting,
the holy water.
his shirt around his head like a helicopter.
Yeah.
So he's kind of doing it to people, whatever. So, yeah, right. So people are getting blessed with the holy water. Picture the church is almost like at a slant. So he's going upstairs, and he's kind of
Stadium seating.
He's kind of like waving around, like everybody's like, yeah.
And then you do the sign of the cross when the water hits you.
So
yeah.
This guy, I'm sitting at the edge top because we got there late. So I'm sitting at the edge top of the stadium seating. So he turns a corner. He looks at me. I'm standing there. We're all kind of standing. I'm there like, yeah, come on, let's make it happen. This guy cocks back. Guys, I swear to you. He cocks back with the thing and goes.
Really?
When he hits me, guys, my glasses, it was like water pouring down my glasses. I had a green shirt on. The entire shirt.
You needed
the
it.
entire shirt
he
is
knew.
soaked.
He saw you standing up there with your fists on your hip and on your hips. He's like, that guy's got demons inside. I could see it.
Dude, he hit me with a gallon of water. Like my glass, I needed like windshield wipers for my glasses because they were pouring. My entire family laughing.
The water's like a little like kind of weird, right? Like it has like a scent.
Yes.
A little bit like incense.
I took a shower in it.
Yeah. So his thought process was probably like, this is someone who only comes to mass once every 10 years. So I'm going to give him enough holy water for the rest of his life because he may never come back after this.
Dan, he hit me with such a stripe of water that I was sitting underneath an air conditioning vent. Again, muggy, but like hot air hitting me, and it was just my glasses start fogging
Now
up.
you're damp and swampy.
And I'm just sitting there. They do it again. Another guy comes by, about to do it, and I had to like. I'm like, I'm good. So I don't know if I'll ever.
You're extra unholy.
It's like a brisket mop on a smoker.
Literally, that's exactly what it was. With just holy water, just absolutely smoked me. So I don't know if I'll ever go back. I have beef with the Catholic clergy. They're gonna have to make it up to me somehow. I don't know how, but. We'll figure it out.
He hit him harder with that water than Kachuk hit Pasta with that punch last night.
It hit me like 90 miles an hour. He cocked back with like a crow hop in the little dress. Like he cocked back and just whah!
When I was a child and we had to go to mass once a week, and they only do the holy water thing on holy days, I believe, or on special occasions, because it's not a thing that they do in every mass. And I remember always feeling like I got cheated if I didn't get a little splash of the holy water, because everyone else would be getting like a little splash, and then you do it, and then I would sometimes you'd just be sitting there and you'd be like, what the hell, I didn't get any.
That's
right. What happens now?
I'll bring you my shirt. You can bring it out. It's still soaked.
Well, Tony's got enough so that on average, over a lifetime, he'll be okay even if it never happens to him again. It's the way that Josh Hart has played an average of 48.2 minutes in the last 5 games, even though they've only had 1 overtime game. He's playing more than 48 minutes per game, Stugotz.
He's been great. Thank you for bringing it back to the Knicks, to the Mecca. That's the place where I observe my religion. Let's take some phone calls here on WFAT.
Our callers are doing our jobs for free at WFAT.
Let's go to Vinny on a car phone. Vinny, go ahead.
Hey, guys. I love WFAT. You guys are the fattest. The fattest. What a night last night. I mean, when Jaylen Brunson came out at halftime and I heard them MVP chants, I was fundamentally altered as a human being. I will never be the same again unless we lose Game 3. Then we are chokers and deserve to die.
I thought that was Ric Flair. That sounds just like Ric Flair.
Vinny's right, though. I mean, you know.
You want to take more callers?
I do.
We're taking callers now.
WFAT, yeah, big Knick game last night. Let's take one more here. Let's go to Mike in the Bronx. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. This team, man, I mean, come on. No Julius Randle. I was there. No Mitchell Robinson. No whichever Bogdanovich is the one that we got. No Anunoby by the 4th quarter. I mean, no Brunson in the 2nd quarter. I'm at the gut. They ran out of hot dogs by the 3rd quarter. No pretzels. I tracked these concessions. I ate a lot during the game. No pretzels by the end of the game. They ran out of seltzer, all right? I mean, they had seltzer, but not like the cherry kind that I like. I mean, this team, nothing could stop this team. Nothing. We had nothing. Nobody in the stands had any pants on by the end of the game.
I don't
we
want
all stood
calls.
there with nothing.
I
still
don't
beat the
like
pants off of them.
taking
Go
calls.
Knicks.
Good call,
Why
Mike.
are we taking calls?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say, as someone who is here on WFAT for the first time,
Yeah.
I mean, can you explain to me how embarrassed you think David Pasternak is that he had to ask his coach if he could fight, and then he got knocked out, and then he had to leave the game? How embarrassed do you think he was?
Kachuk all dented his face. Excuse me, I butchered that. Jesus, like Tom Thibodeau. Let's take a call, WFAT.
Please, no more calls. Please.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I thought we showed Reggie Miller last night with that chant. I mean, we got his ass. I was there. We heckled a nearly 60-year-old man. We proved to the world, that 30 years later we still remember how he took our choking dog Knicks with 8 points in 9 seconds. And people who did not know that, who weren't old enough, who weren't born yet, we taught a whole new generation what losers we used to be. The tabloids, they blame Spike Lee for the weak, for heckling them and making them sodomizers like that. I tell you what, he inflicted a pain that we handed down to the kids. It was, 3 decades ago, but we chanted at him in a sing-song way back then, and now I feel better. Even though 30 years ago, that was apparently one of the highlights of his life and one of the definitely worst moments of our lives. I mean, it had to be one of the worst things to ever happen to a New York sports team. Had to be. I mean, Reggie used to say, I remember this, he loved being a villain. He enjoyed that, the quiet he inflicted on the road, even more than the roar of a home crowd. So, I'm sure he was deeply insulted by us remembering what he did to us three decades ago. We got him good. I'm going to hang up and
I don't want to take any more calls, Stugotz. You say that on a day like today, all you do is open up the phone lines and go lazy sports radio person, and I
Just
don't
killed
believe
2 minutes with a 20 share.
I know. Well, you killed 2 minutes, but it wasn't any good.
So?
Any good? That was an excellent call. I don't even know what he
cares
said, but it
about
was
quality
great.
in New York. I mean, what are you
I
talking
think the last one was my old neighbor.
I had forgotten that part, that Reggie Miller says that he always enjoyed a quiet road crowd more than even the cheers of a home crowd. Chipper Jones used to say the same thing about doing that to Shea Stadium. So, yeah, if that's something that you enjoy, Reggie Miller leaves that arena last night like he's just imbibed from a fountain of youth, no?
He had 45 chances to enjoy that feeling. He did it 12 times.
I think he feels alive when he leaves that building last night, right? Like they're searching for that rush again after they retire. I feel like he feels alive. I feel like he thinks he's in the series.
Yeah.
He's in it now.
I will tell you guys that all of these athletes who leave sports and have such a hard time because there's nothing like playing in the center of that pressurized madness. When they get to the sidelines, J.J. Redick will look for whatever it is that he will find later in his career. It'll never feel like that. There is no such thing. You'll get near it. You'll be on the sidelines. You'll coach and won't have control. But being in the middle of it, there's nothing like it. But if you can be to the side of the stage and feel like you're in the middle of it, you can't give Reggie Miller a greater compliment on what his career was, that never won anything, a career that didn't get to the finals but once, right? Yeah. One time got to the finals. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Half as much as Jimmy Butler in the last few years, Reggie Miller, and to have that all resurrected for you because at one time, maybe the last time the Knicks mattered like this, honestly. Maybe the last time. It's probably been this long since the Knicks felt this kind of good.
Maybe Lynn, maybe.
Nah, 2000 was the last time they mattered. And they lost to the Pacers that year,
yes.
2000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but mattered like this when they're coming off of the Pat Riley interrupting the O.J. Simpson finals, John Starks going 2 for 18, and then Riley goes to Miami and all of the balance of the conference changes. This is a different time. Like that, when you can combine all of these elements, Stugotz, yes. That the team is an underdog, it's cool and lovable, and you get the nostalgia of I'm going to go grab some of the stories so that I can remember what it was like to play the Davis brothers.
Forgot about those guys, Antonio and Dale.
A different time. Could not play today. Neither one of them don't have range in their offensive game. They were just muscle. There he is. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that face.
Doggy
Hi, my boys.
Look at him.
Doggy on a Thursday.
Look at him.
Yes, sir.
He is delighted. His hair looks like he just rolled out of bed. What the hell is happening? You seem and look crazed at all times, but never more so than right now when it looks like your hair's trying to get away from you.
And my makeup person, Danny, hasn't shown up yet. I got the baseball show in an hour, so she'll be here at 10:15. If I knew I needed my hair done for you guys, I would have had it here at 9:30. But here I am, raring to go. And I'm better with the hair crazy anyway. It makes me crazy, which is better radio. How things going? Things good?
Excellent. We are always happy to see you. The MLB Network show he's talking about is High Heat. Every week he's on First Take, and he headlines, of course, Mad Dog Sports Radio on Sirius XM, including Mad Dog Unleash, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. He's a pioneer in this industry, practically can be credited with inventing the industry.
He did invent the industry, Dan.
And here he is today with New York mattering in basketball the way it hasn't in a long time. Can you explain to the audience the link between Knicks basketball and that city and why, because it's in the city, it seems like that city loves that team more than any other when it does this? It just hasn't given it many chances to feel the way that it does today.
Excellent point. You hit it right on the head. I mean, that 69-70 Knicks team is one of the famous teams in New York in all the sports. I put the Jets in there the year they beat the Colts. I put maybe probably the 96 Yankees, who surprised everybody, maybe the 86 Mets, but that 69-70 Knicks team, with Frazier, DeBusschere, Bradley, Reed, and Barnett was a much paleo team, and everybody loved them. The basketball in New York, obviously, the original franchise in the mid-'40s. This was a great college basketball town for a long time. That kind of went away with CCNY, with the scandals there in 50 and 51 when they won the NCAA and the NIT in the same year, but obviously, cheated because the points shaving scenario. And then the NBA, hit the forefront. Knicks were bad for the first 20, 25 years. Then they drafted Frazier. They drafted Willis from Grambling. Holtzman was the head coach. And they had that 4 or 5 year run there where they were great. Then they were bad for a long time. Then they won a lottery with Ewing. Then Riley came in. Riley, for the 4 years, he was superb. Everybody loved Riley, lost to Game 7 at Houston. And then Van Gundy had a great run, too. But for the most part, it's been very sporadic Knicks success. But this team, in the last couple of years, everybody loves Brunson. Rosen did a great job. The general manager, Leon Rose did a great job. It was a Rosen or Rose, whatever his name is. Did a great job.
It's Rose, doggy. Don't worry. Just keep going.
A superb job by Thibodeau. DiVincenzo, people love him. Josh Hart is a tremendous Villanova player who loose balls, hustles, offensive rebounds. Hartenstein. I mean, this is the kind of a Knicks team they love. Yep. They would prefer defense over offense. They like the scrappy instead of the finesse. And this is kind of what you see here as far as this Knicks team is concerned. And now listen, the Knicks are not the football. It's not the NFL. I understand that. It's the NBA, it's not the NFL. It's not Jets or Giants. But this is, everybody's totally in love with the ball club. I mean, and every game they play is a close game. That's the other thing. They never get blown out, and they never blow anybody else out. So there's always high drama at Madison Square Garden. Think of the 7 playoff games they played so far to date. Obviously the 6 or the 8 now, 6 and the 2. Every game has been a tremendous game. There's some drama, some comebacks. Knicks, these 2 fourth quarters here in this series against the Pacers. The Sixers series with the calls at the end of the game, 2, when they didn't have foul calls and Maxey lost the ball.
All right, Mad Dog, I'm going to cut you off here because I need to cut him off just real quick because Jeremy, Jessica, and Chris all just said in my ear, what the fuck is just happening? Because there's been a
WFAT. He's taking us through Knicks history.
This is Chris. I'm going to tell you. Cook. I will let him cook. I will let him cook in a second. Cook some more in a second because we're going through the whole history of this. But I've seen this happen to Stephen A. Smith, and I've seen it happen to Max Kellerman. You get on First Take, and he's been doing radio for years, but you get specifically on First Take, and you got 45 minutes of news, but you got to talk for 2 hours. All of a sudden, you're a hijacker. You're somebody who can't stop talking. You're somebody who revs. Tell me I'm wrong. Russo, tell me I'm wrong.
You're right.
No, Doggy, he's wrong.
No, he is the greatest, but everyone here was expecting him at some point to stop talking, and he wouldn't.
No, Dan, that was a great history lesson. My grandpa was actually the manager of one of those teams that played CCNY in 1951. Wow. He would have been 102 this year.
Oh my God! How about that? They beat Kentucky, and they had DePaul. I mean, they did a great job. They won. They beat Bradley in both title games. Anyway, to make a long story short, the fascination with the Knicks crowd likes this kind of team: hustle, feisty, offensive rebounds, play good defense. Brunson's a little guard. Everybody is shocked how well he has played. That was a tremendous move by Rose, bringing him in here with a great contract. And this is a fun team. Now, I think they're going to get mauled by the Celtics when we get there. But I thought they beat Indiana in 7. Now it's probably going to be a little earlier than that. I thought they beat Philly. There's something about the team. Danny. There's something about the team.
Dog, I'm trying not to get caught up in the moment, but I have Jaylen Brunson as the greatest Knick of all time. Do you agree?
No, he's not.
What?
I mean,
What?
He's not better than Frazier. He's not better than Reed. You can't put him ahead of, obviously, Ewing. That's 3. He's not Dave DeBusschere. That's 4.
What?
But, you can make an argument anywhere after the 4th one, you can put Brunson in there. You can make that argument.
But wait a minute, though. These stats, are you not allowing, I guess, because of the modern game being so different? Because what Brunson has done, those playoff performances are unprecedented in Knicks history. There's no such thing.
But remember, the other guys I've given you, they were in finals. I mean, Ewing was in a final. Obviously, DeBusschere, Bradley, DeBusschere, Frazier, and Reed won 2 championships. He's only won 2 playoff rounds. You're right, the 40-point thing is phenomenal, but I'm looking at it from the team and the big picture of what the team did. If Knicks go win a championship, we can put Brunson 1. But he's doing it in the second round of the postseason, so that's why that top 4 guys is tricky. DeBusschere, Clyde, Reed, and Ewing. I mean, geez, that's a hard top 4 to crack. DeBusschere was a tremendous Knick. He was the missing piece with the Howard Comey's trade. He was the missing ingredient that fit like a glove with that Knick team that won 2 titles. I can't put Brunson over DeBusschere. That's not fair. DeBusschere averaged 18 points a game and guarded the best offensive player on the other team, and they won 2 titles. I can't put Brunson over him. That's not fair.
Dog, you mentioned, first of all, great talking to you as always. Dog, you're mentioning some great all-time Knicks. A bunch of them sit in the front row for these games. Some of them I feel like maybe should be more like the second or the third row. Like Stephon Marbury, teams were terrible. Marbury gets front row at the Garden. Come on.
Good point.
Come on.
I would
You're
love.
right.
I would
Good
love.
point.
I
You got a
would
good
no,
point.
but I would love. First of all,
You got a
that's
good point.
that's the highest honor when
Yes,
Chris
good
Russo
point.
tells
That's it.
you
Thank you,
you
dog.
made
That's
a
it.
good point.
Yep.
But do you realize that if you talk to him the way that you
Congrats.
talk, which is like him, and you guys got into an argument, it would seem like you two were arguing with a mirror?
I don't want to argue with Dog. I agree with everything he says. That's
Yeah.
my guy. I'm not going to argue with Dog. What are you talking about
But
here?
for the sake
I'm
of
not
radio.
always right. Let's take it easy. I'm not always right.
Yes, you are, Doug.
But listen, you want to put Brunson 5th? Go ahead. You can put him 5th.
Thank you.
I can't put him 4th
Appreciate
yet.
it,
And
Doug.
listen, the Pacers are going to have some moments in this series. They'll bounce back some. I'm down on Carlisle. What, are you going to send 78 film clips to New York, to the NBA office because of calls? When you blew a 9-point lead in game 1 and a 12-point lead in game 2, and then you're going to send clips and you're going to talk about small market, big market? The Spurs won 5 championships. What, is San Antonio a big market all of a sudden? That was weak. That was very weak. And the Knicks fans going to love picking on Carlisle now. The Pacers, if the Pacers are going to be honest with themselves, they should have won one of these 2 games, for crying out loud. They should have won one of these 2.
Doggy, you're absolutely right. By the way, it was Duquesne, and I think my grandpa might have been the only Italian man there who wasn't point shaving. But I enjoy the history lesson, and I think maybe our audience would like to put it in context of maybe just the last 20 years, because I think you're going a little too far back here with your comps. Jaylen Brunson is the best Knicks player since when?
I'll say since Ewing has that. That's fair. We'll live with that one.
But look, yes, but we're going to put on the screen, see if you can see this here. You're telling me that this was better than Jaylen Brunson. I just want to be.
on that guy.
Hairy arms.
Be fair.
Where's his bicep?
Did you know when Julius Erving was a net And the first day of the merger, the Knicks and the Nets played an exhibition game, which is a big deal, in New York. And do you know that DeBusschere completely shut Julius Erving down?
Yeah.
DeBusschere was great.
Yeah.
Now, listen, it's a little too far back. I get it. So we'll put Brunson since the early 90s. And nobody loves Riley more than me. And those Knick teams are rugged. Oakley, Mason, Ewing, Starks, Derek Harper, Anthony. Those were rugged teams. Xavier McDaniel. We love those teams in New York. And I'm not a Knick fan, but the fan loves those teams. And let's face it, I mean, they probably came as close as you can come to winning a championship. They lost a Game 7. They played the Bulls in a Game 7. You remember one thing about the Bulls? Bulls played 2 Game 7s, Jordan did, in his career in the postseason when he won. Not when he lost to Detroit, when he won. And one Game 7 was against Indiana, and the other Game 7 that first year was Riley with the Knicks. So we will put Brunson ahead of everybody since Ewing. We'll put him number 1. I think that makes everybody happy.
Dog, let's be honest here for a second. Watching that broadcast last night, true or false, you would have thought that Reggie Miller was undefeated against the New York Knicks in his career.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Two of them.
Reggie,
2 of them.
I love Reggie. He scored the 25 in the fourth quarter in that one game in Game 6. He made the 8 points there. Let's take it easy. I mean, Reggie didn't win 20 championships. The Knick nemesis is more Jordan than who beat the Knicks millions of times. It's more Jordan than Reggie. And Reggie loves this, but Reggie's almost taken too much credit for being, the ultimate quote-unquote Knick killer. Take it easy, Reg. Jeez. And remember, in the 1 year when he scored the 25 in the fourth quarter, Knicks led 11, started the fourth quarter. Reggie had 25. The Pacers lost the series.
Yeah.
They lost the series.
You tell them,
They didn't win that series. They lost Game 6 in Indiana. He had 16 points. I was there for that game, and he did nothing in Game 7. He lost the series. Too much love for Reggie. The idea that he is the ultimate, and I love Reggie, I'm a fan, but way too much love. I agree with you 100%.
We've got to keep passing the ball to Zaslow. He's getting good points from Mad Dog.
Let's see if
It's a record.
Let's see if you got more.
Dog, let's be fair here. Rick Carlisle, with the complaining after the game of the officiating, you're not Phil Jackson. Come on.
Good point. Now, he did win a championship.
A 3-pointer!
He did win a championship with Dallas, and he's a very, very good coach. But
you're not Phil Jackson.
He's not Phil. He's not Phil.
That sounded very weak. I mean, he sent 78 clips to the NBA. Really? In the last 2 games? Take it easy. I mean, my gosh almighty, please. I didn't like the offensive illegal screen call either. I'll be honest with you. But be fair. Indiana blew 2 big leads.
It
hurts. They had a 12-point lead last night and a 9-point lead fourth quarter in Game 1.
True.
And he got OGs out with a hamstring, and Brunson can't walk in the first half, and you still lost the game.
True.
Exactly.
And you can also make the idea he should never have taken McConnell out, who is great, and he took him out with 7 minutes left in the game in a 2-point game.
Have a feel for the game, right, Doggy?
Good point.
So you can make an argument that Rick wasn't Rat Holtzman these last couple days either. So you can be fair on that, too. Here's what I want Indiana to do.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
Here's what we want Indiana to do. Keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
All right.
Nose to the grindstone.
You got it.
Come back here 2-2.
Yep.
All right.
Let me see you win 2 games at home.
Zip
That's
it up,
what I want
Doggy.
to see Indiana do. Then he can say something.
Yeah.
Let me see him do that.
We will
Philadelphia wasn't able to do it. Let me see him do it.
We will
He's
let
rolling,
you
Dan.
go
I
on
mean,
this
Jesus.
note. We're out of time. We've been out of time for a while.
Love
and
you, dog.
I need to get to a mispronunciation that he had, and I need to get him to explain himself because evidently on air he learned what the phrase jujitsu was.
Quickly, they all had the same lines. Let's go kill Giselle and her boyfriend. That was the whole theme of the whole night. Let's figure out a way. How does Tom Brady, the magnificent, good-looking quarterback, how did he lose his beautiful wife to a jiu-jitsu how you pronounce it? What's the word? I don't even know. What is it?
Jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu instructor. I mean, that's the whole theme of the night. That she's going out with the jiu-jitsu instructor. Now, poor Tom, all by his lonesome. That's the whole damn theme of the night.
It's why you're the greatest of all time.
I knew what you were trying to say.
I mean, did you guys like that stupid? That roast was awful. Did you guys agree with me or not?
We like the roast.
Let's keep him on for 30 more minutes to talk about it.
I do want to come back next week, and we'll talk to you again about it. Good seeing you, Mad Dog.
See
you, Dog.
this man and his fandom, this man and his comedy can run dark. He can run dark, but look at him right now. He is radiant. This is as radiant as you will ever see this man. He's the commissioner of fandom. He was courtside last night. He has shows coming up in Kentucky, Southern California, Atlantic City, Rochester, and Doral. Same time tomorrow is the Netflix special. And these moments for you keep getting sweeter because all the things you believe about heart and grit and underdog play out for you, where you can be scared in the first half, and then what comes limping out of the locker room, tiny little Willis Reed.
I can't act like I wasn't scared. The energy was out of the building. I took my brother last night. We were like, did we just lose Jaylen Brunson? He comes back. The building goes crazy, and he was like settled down. He didn't know if he was ready yet. Somehow Brunson Willis Reeded it on the 54th anniversary of Willis Reed. He pulled a Willis Reed. It was epic. All these complaints from the Pacers, Rick Carlisle saying the officiating's bad. You can't beat the Knicks when we've lost more men than the Korean War. A new Knick is going down every day, and we're still finding ways to win. OG Anunoby, we pray he's okay. We don't know how bad this is going to be. Brunson comes on one leg and beats the Pacers. Stop whining. You're getting stomped.
You have been telling me for months now, since they made the Anunoby trade, that that guy changes everything about what that team was before he got there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 3-and-D guy, but he's more. I mean, you saw what he did last night. It sucks he got injured because that was the OG Anunoby game. He was completely taking over. He was showing you his offensive repertoire. I saw someone post Ice Spice is in the house. He turns into 2019 Kawhi Leonard, and that's what he looked like. He looked freaking great. So, yeah, I mean, we know what OG is capable of, but it's a team effort. Josh Hart has been just the motor all game, every game. Dante shut the lights out. Hartenstein, one of the best passing bigs in the NBA. I mean, Brunson it's like the energy in the building changed. Like, we didn't have anything to cheer for in that second quarter because we were scared. He comes back and he made us believe like he's made us believe all season long.
Sam, here's what I want to know. You're a huge fan, and you're sitting in the front row there, all right, last night at the Garden. How do you not run onto the floor and, hug players? And if I was there, somebody would have to hold me back. How do you control yourself from running on the floor and celebrating after a big shot?
Because I want to go back. That's the only thing keeping me from celebrating. I don't want to pull up crazy. Although Hartenstein came over to try to high-five me, and my friend Chris DiStefano was in the way. And Hartenstein DM'd me after the game. I tried to say what's up, but some dumbass was in front of
Chrissy
you.
D.
I looked at Chris. I was like, you called me a high five.
Well done.
Okay, so you were in the front row, and here's something I need to understand. If you're in the front row at the Garden, you're big time, obviously, all right? What if your age? I want to know the process of getting the front row at the Garden for a playoff game. Because if your agent calls you and says, hey, I got your tickets for tonight, you're in the third row, you're a loser then, Sam. So what's the process of getting the first row tickets?
Well, I don't care where I sit, man. I sat in the handicap section the other game. I don't care. Like, I just want to be in the building. So I every time I've asked them for tickets, they've said yes. I've known them for a while. I play all their venues, the MSG venues. I did the theater there. I did the Beacon. I've done the Chicago theater. It's all MSG. So I think they're like, oh, he plays a lot of our venues. He's a diehard fan. We like him. So they're nice enough to hook up tickets when I ask, but I don't want to over-ask because I'm grateful, right? And I don't take it for granted.
But aren't there whispers where if a celebrity is sitting in the second or third, oh, look at that guy, he's kind of a loser?
No, I'm turning around and high-fiving everyone in sight.
Yeah, but Sam, this is a status symbol.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Garden. You know it is. Like, if the Knicks told you, hey, Sam, we're putting you upstairs, you're not going to the game. I mean, come on.
I was just in the handicap section. You know what I said?
That was Brad's fault, though.
They don't listen.
That was Brad's fault.
Sam,
and that's a decent section. I got to be honest.
Sam, they've been in sports radio a long time. Neither one of them listened.
I'm a huge fan, and I used to sit in the 400s, and I'll still gladly go to the 400s. I just want to be in the building for the madness. I just love the team, so I don't care.
What an everyman.
Let me put up on the screen here this image because Brunson hit a shot early in the fourth quarter, and you see Chris DiStefano between you. You see there's someone reaching out to dap and just to dap Brunson, and he stares at them there. What is happening there? Did you make fun of the fact that Brunson stiffed him there?
Well, here's the thing. That's Chris's friend Tommy the Cop. That guy's like 350 pounds of pure muscle.
Tommy the Cop.
That guy nearly, like, he would chest bump me, and I was like, I think I broke a rib. Like, this guy's a lunatic, you know? So that's one of Chris's old-timey buddies, and Brunson did the right thing not taking that high five. The force this guy has could have broken a finger or something. So good move from Jaylen, just staring us down. We knew what was up.
Sam, enough of Reggie Miller. No? Did you say anything to him?
If I saw him, I would have said what everyone else in the building was saying. I joined the chant, of course, because we all hate Reggie. And the fact that he's calling the broadcast, the fact that TNT is so anti-Knicks, like, I'm sorry, Charles. I don't know what the Knicks fans did to you. We all just love our Knicks. By the way, we're underdogs. Everyone, they may have chosen the Knicks to win, but not with all these injuries. We lost Mitchell. We lost Boyan. We lost, Julius Randle, of course. And now we don't know how long OG is going to be out. And for some reason, they're just like taking joy in rooting against us. We are badass, and we have heart, and we play with resilience. Show us some respect. What is this anti-Knicks broadcast? I feel like I'm watching like an anti-America broadcast in North Korea or something. This is the Knicks. We got a great fan base.
Let's play some of that sound here for Sam to maximum agitate him.
You know, if the Knicks win, that'll be good. You care who wins, cut it out. I don't care who wins, but I will tell you what, I would love to see them get their ass stomped by the Celtics. That'd be great.
Then you care who wins.
I mean, I'm just saying, whoever wins this series is going to get stomped by the Celtics.
Well, you said you'd be happy to see it.
Yeah, because the New Yorkers, y'all deserve it. Because y'all think y'all the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Tell them, Chuck.
Come on, y'all ain't that good in New York.
What else, Chuck?
Come on, man. Y'all overrated.
What else, Chuck?
It's because y'all make good pizza and good bagels.
And what else, Chuck?
And what else, Prime?
And hold on, Chuck. Don't forget about the...
So, you know, I ain't going to say anything bad about the street meat. You know, I love the street meat.
Yeah, we can tell you love the street meat, Chuck. Why don't you cut down on some of it? Secondly, we do have great pizza and great bagels. I appreciate the compliment. And look, I'm a Charles Barkley fan. How could you not be? But enough with this hatred on New York. I'm sorry. Did it stem from when we swept your ass in the 80s when you played for the Sixers and demanded a trade? Is that when it came from? I don't know why he hates the Knicks fans so much. We've been a starved for greatness franchise, and we finally have greatness in Jaylen Brunson. Put some respect on the Knicks' names, Charles. We're doing this injured. We're doing this next man up style. Precious stepped up. Badass game defensively from Precious. Give it a break. And hopefully, I can't believe I'm saying hopefully we get ESPN the next game, but at least maybe we'll have Mike Breen, a great broadcaster, calling the game instead of a putz like Reggie Miller. Yep. Get Reggie off the broadcast.
Oh, no.
It kind of like falls flat to be like, New York, what do they have other than really good pizza, really good bagels, really good food carts? It's like you see those memes about Boston that's like, Boston, the weather's terrible, the traffic's bad, but at least the food sucks too. And you never say that about New York.
It's good.
I had great times in Boston, actually. Like, I hate the Celtics, but I don't dislike Boston as a city. I taped my last special in Boston for the new one I just shot. I love Boston, but I will say New York is the best city in the world, and you don't have to agree with me, but even if you don't like New York, you have to admit we're in the conversation. So I don't know what he's talking about. No arena's rocking like the Garden. It's just not.
I do enjoy, though, this is the part that has to hurt you as someone who loves the NBA so much. There is very little better on television than Shaq continually throwing lobs to Barkley until he gets what he wants and then dissolving in laughter when he finally gets Barkley to just say how much he likes street meat.
Look, I love Shaq and Barkley. Like, how could you not love this crew? Like, we don't want this crew to be. And I'm a Knicks fan. All they do is hate on us. All they do is doubt Brunson. And the hatred that they threw at Brunson, it was fuel. I think he just kept getting better because his whole career has been people doubting him. This Knicks team has a chip on its shoulder, so keep doubting us, please. I love it. Keep throwing fuel to the fire. But I can't deny that I don't love this broadcast. It's like they were like the original podcast. They're great together, and I hope they don't get broken up.
The Garden's cool and all, but Amerant Bank Arena last night. Sunrise
Was lit last night.
6-1.
Ice Cats.
That's right. Panthers took that ass last night. That's right.
All right. Just
Exactly, dude. Where do they shoot? Atlanta? Go to a Hawks game. Tell me how lit that is. The Garden's where it's at.
I don't think Sam was listening.
Yes, it doesn't matter. Okay, Sam, your shirt. Tell me about how much Knicks gear how much Knicks gear you have. What are you wearing? Anything else these days?
Well, no, not really. I have to decide between all these Knicks shirts. I've had to give some away because I'm moving upstairs in this building. So I'm going through stuff. I'm like, I have too much Knicks stuff. I got to spread the wealth. I've given some out to friends. Yeah, no, it's all Knicks stuff all the time.
You're moving on up to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
I'm actually using an alias at the Comedy Cellar right now because they got mad at me because the schedule didn't come out in time for the playoffs. So I would just keep canceling every Knicks game. And they have to email every person who shows up. So I now use an alias in the Comedy Cellar until the playoffs are over.
I like it.
What are your favorite things at the Knicks game outside, like in terms of touches, whether it's music, anything that they're doing to accent your courtside experience?
Winning
is the best. I mean, we got to say what's up to Frazier last night, and like, that Walt Frazier to me is the coolest dude ever. Like, just the outfits, the vibes, the way he speaks. He's so humble. I love Walt Frazier so much. Sabathia, dapped up Sabathia, another New York legend. So I love that. And that song that comes on that's like na 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 na.
Pepas?
That's our song.
Like what we play here?
Come on!
Try
I had enough of them taking our team.
Cool song. Oh, and whenever they go, like, when they hit you with "Go New York, go New York, go," when we go on a run, yeah. I mean, honestly, nothing gets us more fired up than Josh Hart grabbing a loose ball. That's what New York fans love.
It's the best. Yes.
We remember Oak and Charlie Ward just diving into the stands all day. So when we see Josh Hart, just that motor, man. And Hardenstein grabs so many loose balls too. That's why we miss Mitch right now. He was great at that as well. But yeah, we love this team so much. So I get so pumped up.
When is the last time, and I know I've asked you forms of this before, but when is the last time that it felt this way for you? Because I don't know that there's anything that in sports that would feel this way. This team, the Sixers series had some of that too, but I'm saying that you have not gotten joy from your fandom with this team, Sam. They've hurt you a lot.
Yeah, I think it's been like 26 years probably. I was definitely pretty young for the last one, but that run we went on last time, we were an 8 seed, so it kind of came out of nowhere. We knew we had Miami in the first round, that Allen Houston floater, and there's something about a rivalry. Whenever it's a rivalry, the seeds don't matter as much. I'm right though. I mean, you see what Miami did to the Celtics last year. Like, when it's two teams that kind of go at each other's throats, I feel like the seeding isn't as important. So we look good, and we had a tough team that year, just skill, but also like really tough. LJ was really tough. Spree was really tough and skilled.
But Brunson has climbed to the top of your emotional list, correct? Brunson is at the very top of Knicks' positive feelings.
He says every right thing. I mean, I don't think he could handle the press any better. Josh Hart is hilarious with the press. I feel like he's always trolling. I mean, these guys are very lovable. There's something about them. You can't not love this group. They play with a lot of humility. They play with a lot of grit, and I feel like they represent New York City very well. Like, we really love them. And I think this is a basketball town. You walk a few blocks, you can't not see a basketball court. Everyone here plays basketball and loves basketball. So this team just plays the right way. It's corny, but it's true. They really do play unselfishly. They play hard-ass D. I mean, this is what New Yorkers love, and they say all the right things to the press, so we can't not love this team.
I know you showed great restraint by not running onto the floor when you were super excited last night, but if like someone for the Pacers gooned it up and knocked over Jaylen Brunson, like, would you run on the floor and make sure that?
Okay, look, if they injured Brunson further, would I Nancy Kerrigan, Tyrese Halliburton? Possibly. I can't say I wouldn't. I mean, that's how it goes, an eye for an eye.
WFAT.
Respect.
Sam, I have not cleared this with Dan, but if the series gets back to the Mecca for Game 5, if it gets back, I'm thinking I'm coming up here. I'm coming up to the game. I want to go courtside with you. What do you think? Can we make it happen?
I don't know if they're going to give me 2 in a series.
I want Tommy the Cop there.
Would you sit in the handicap spot?
No.
Who's in the handicap spot together?
No,
Tommy the Cop is that I did not get a lot of leg room from that guy. That was tough.
But me and you courtside next week? Huh?
Well, I'll try.
All right, good.
You're not going to try, and I don't want you to try, and he embarrasses me all the time. Anytime anyone comes on the show with Power, he just asks for things.
If Sam tells me he has courtside, I'll be there. That's all I can tell him.
Nah, we don't know with you.
Debatable.
Stugotz. Yeah,
He just told you he doesn't, though, so.
It doesn't matter what you say. Those words are empty and meaningless. Last thoughts
thank
before we get you out of here, Sam, on anything that you want to say to anyone in our audience about feeling better about your Knicks than you've felt at any point this century.
I feel great, but I'm not a fan that's like, we got this. I live in fear. These haven't been any blowout games. These have been all close games. We've clawed back every game. I mean, that's why it's hilarious that Carlisle can't stop complaining. It's like, stop giving up big leads. Like Dante's flame throwing you. Brunson's cooking you. Stop whining, Rick Carlisle. I thought he had some class the first game, but this time he's like being a little crybaby. We're all injured and you're still losing. You're missing Benedict Mathurin. We're missing half our team. So maybe if you can't beat us, you shouldn't be here. I think Game 3 is going to be a challenge because I don't know if OG is going to play. I don't know about Brunson's health. And I know that arena in Indy is going to be popping, but it ain't going to be the Garden. And Knicks fans will travel to that game.
Sam, your choice here. The Knicks win the NBA Finals this year. All right? Be the first time in your life you've seen it because you're not 1,000 years old. The Knicks win the finals, or you, Sam Morril, sell out the Garden for one of your shows.
I think both are going to happen. I already sold out
Choose
the MSG.
one, Sam. Sports radio. Come on.
Well, but let him finish his thought.
They'll both happen. Obviously, I would rather the Knicks win because I can just do if I can't do that, I'll do multiple shows at Radio City in the future. I'll do the MSG Theater. So Knicks winning it all is number one, of course.
You think they're going to win the championship?
It brings such a good energy to the city. I go out to 7th Avenue after every game to just be a part of the mosh pit and be a part of the madness and high five Knicks fans. It makes me so happy. So, I mean, if we get this crazy after a playoff win, think of what we will do to this city if we win a ring. I want it so badly. It's good for the energy. Just random New Yorkers on the street during the day going, go Knicks, high-fiving. There's great vibes in the city right now. So I want to keep it going, and I want a championship here. And it feels like Brunson will bring a championship here at some point.
It's crazy to me that you're saying that, though, because you know sports, you know this sport, and you can be as hopeful as you like. But most of the country, let's say the Knicks somehow do get to the championship round, I believe the analysis of most of the country will be what is going to happen to the Knicks in those finals is the same thing that happened to the Heat last year in the finals, where they go to the top end of what they are, but at the end they run into something that's just better.
We're underdogs, but we've been underdogs all along, and you never know what happens. And speaking of your Heat, seems like trouble in paradise, Dan. I mean, Jimmy Butler running his dumb mouth in Cancun, Riley calling him out. I love to see it. I love to see your team in shambles, and soft, fragile Tyler Hero as well.
Okay, good talking to you, Sam.
That's how you do it, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you for being on with us. You nailed the dismount. We appreciate it.
Look at that smile.
Yes, he's very happy. I'm telling you. His comedy runs dark and acidic, but he is a 13-year-old teenager when it comes to this team. I wanted to go back to something that we wandered away from earlier in the show when Chris Russo was on with us. Jessica came into the studio and she was wondering correctly how it is that Chris Russo had happened about the particulars of this mistake. Chris Cody, can you get the long one for me of Chris Russo trying to figure out, off of the Tom Brady roast, how to say the word jiu-jitsu because he didn't seem to be familiar with it?
How did he lose his beautiful wife to a jiu-jitsu instructor? How you pronounce it?
Jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu instructor. I mean, that's the whole theme of the night. That she's going out with the jiu-jitsu instructor. And poor Tom, all by his lonesome. That's the whole damn theme of the night.
So Jessica came in here and she asked a question that I believe is the right question. And if we had Mad Dog back on, I think he might confirm it, which is, does he think that the martial art is jitsu and that the person participating in it is Jewish?
That's the right question.
At the end, he just says a jitsu instructor. And he before said Jiu-Jitsu, and he obviously wasn't reading it. He just didn't know what it was. So I was wondering, like, does he think it's a Jewish jitsu instructor?
To a jitsu instructor. How you pronounce it?
You have the instructor being Jewish and the art being Itsu.
That she's going out with the jitsu instructor.
I think she's right.
I think so. I think he just got scared of it. Stugotz still reminds me every day of the time Barkley came on here and spelled the word Jew. Because he was just
J-E-W.
He was just,
I'm like, Charles, you could say the word, man.
He didn't know. But jitsu or itsu. Let me hear it one more time. Is it jitsu or itsu?
How did he lose his beautiful wife to a jitsu instructor? How you pronounce it?
Jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu instructor. I mean, that's the whole theme of the night. That she's going out with the jitsu instructor.
Yeah, that Jew is Mr. Steal Your Girl, the Jew Zook instructor.
Hall of Famer, man.
You are feeling how, Zaslow, having crammed down your throat all of this WFAT New York coverage?
I'm fine with it. We all know how it's going to end. I mean, it's going to end with them losing, so whatever. But we're going to get to a place where it's Knicks and Celtics, and my head's going to start spinning, and it's going to fall off like a top because I'm not going to know what to do with myself.
You'll root for the Knicks. That's what you'll do.
I will
Yes.
root for the Knicks.
Right.
I will.
Right.
I will root for the Knicks, and then I will root heavily for the Western Conference.
Your head just spinning on the floor like a top.
Yeah, like a top. I didn't say dreidel. I don't know if everybody's going to get it. I want to be inclusive, so I said like a top.
Jew. Right.
It is going to be fun, though. We cannot dispute, right, that New York, loud, happy, and obnoxious is something that will lure people, will lure a crowd. And I've just missed this feeling around here. You understand that when LeBron came to Miami, on the spot, I'm screaming in one of those rants, New York, welcome to another decade of irrelevance.
Show? We're talking about the Panthers.
I have denied, and Stugotz and WFAT have denied Zaslow, Roy, and Chris Cody their rightful earned place to celebrate some 6-1 victory over the Boston Bruins. I will welcome in Rohan Nadkarni, formerly of Sports Illustrated, who's now doing for GQ Sports the Jimmy Butler article from the weekend at the Miami Grand Prix with some quotes about him loving Miami and wanting to stay in Miami. We will get to him in a second. But go ahead, Chris and Zaslow and Roy. The floor is yours after Juan Pierre banged the drum last night.
JP.
And then your team, blows out the Bruins in what was a desperate, important game and looks more like the team you've seen all year because they're annoying and gritty and everyone else.
We're just better than them.
Everyone else in hockey hates the Panthers because of how they play.
We're just better than them. Last night was literally how the Panthers have played the entire season. Like, I didn't recognize that team from game one. Our defense was terrible. And even last night when we were down 1-0, and I'm a disaster during Panther playoff games. I am. I'm on the verge of vomit the entire 60 minutes. But even after the first period yesterday, we're down 1-0, I'm like, we totally outplayed them. I feel totally fine. We're going to be fine. And then we kicked their ass. Like, last night was so much closer to, I believe, what this series is going to look like. I don't think it's a long series. I think we're going to win both games in Boston, and we're going to finish this thing out in Game 5 in Sunrise. Madison Square Garden. How about Amerant Bank Arena? Did you see last night?
Popping.
Well, the best thing that Paul Maurice could have done was change the lineups in the second period, putting the lines in the blender, because that lineup that he put out there in
back
game
to
one,
what works.
Bread and butter.
Come on. Get back to what
He tried to change it up the first game in this series.
Yeah, it didn't work. He said that that lineup came out at the end of Game 5 of the first round, and it worked then. It did not work for 4 periods during this series.
And we still have Bennett and Lomberg in the holster.
Bennett's going to be back one of these games.
Didn't you trade Barkhoff the last time you were in the studio?
Don't worry about that.
A year ago.
Don't worry about that.
That was then.
Yeah. I repented. I was sitting in this seat a year ago. I've been very honest and upfront about that. Right. Look, sports talk shows, they love being right. Most of them like being right at the expense of their team suffering because they want to be right. I'd rather be wrong, and I was dead wrong, and my team ends up benefiting from it. I'm very sorry, Sasha. I love you so much. I love Sergei Bobrovsky. I told him to get the hell out of my city, and I also called Paul Maurice the murderer of fun. I've never had more fun in my life.
1 year ago you did this.
That's right.
The murderer of fun. Put it on the poll, please. That Le Batard Show. Is Paul Maurice the murderer of fun?
He's not, though. He's not.
Everybody was wrong about that last season.
I'm
Good
okay
God.
with being wrong. I'm okay with being wrong.
Can we put that on the poll? Are you okay with being wrong? No one is.
Not a strength for sports opining.
Definitely not. I think Whitty's take on the Panthers was still worse, though, right?
Oh,
yeah,
Kachuk with his empty stats? Get the hell out of here.
The man's a 100-point scorer every single season. He said that was the worst trade in Panthers history.
Best. I love him so much. You see, like, the camera was on him, and he's talking to the other bench there. And Pasternak, oh, please, coach, can I please fight? Can I fight Matthew Kachuk? I already told you what Pasternak can do if he wants to fight
Huberdeau
somebody.
would never.
But Kachuk, oh my, and Kachuk doesn't fight.
Why are
He'll
you
fight.
threatening to fight hockey players? Like,
I'll fight him too.
Because we're in the mix here.
Yeah.
We're in this thing.
What's the matter with you?
Sounds like me and Sidney Crosby.
Oh, God, Roy. Don't bring Sidney Crosby. Chris came in very confident today. In fact, so confident that when he said hi to Mad Dog,
we don't have to do this.
It was
Look, I have
the oddest hello in the history of hellos.
I have struggled with a lot of things, if we're being honest, but I've struggled to the greeting of guests before they go on air. I have not perfected yet because you want to sound natural, you want to sound relaxed.
So this was natural for you?
Well, I asked Video to get this for me because of how awkward it seemed right before we went on the air, and I wish we had started this way. Let's listen to the host, really just welcoming you into our home, Chris Cody.
What's up, doggy? I don't know where
the Yellowstone.
What's
that?
Next time we have him on, you just have to say, doggy. That's
What's
it.
up, doggy?
Yeah.
He sounds like
doggy
John
on a
Wayne.
Thursday. That's
Or
it.
just hello, how you doing?
Am I a robot?
No, never hello, how you doing.
Roy's got it. It's John Wayne. There's definitely some moseying going on as you approach Doggy.
What's
The
up,
Duke.
doggy? What's up, doggy? God, I cannot listen to that.
I want you guys to imagine in an Old West saloon, Chris Russo is at the piano as Chris Cody walks in.
What's up, doggy? Got a toothpick in his mouth.
He's wearing boots. There's sawdust on the floor.
Followed it up by asking for a whiskey.
What's up, doggy? All right, we can stop.
It sounds like there should be like a little banjo playing.
What's up, doggy?
Juan Pierre last night bangs the drum, a 90s Marlin. Look at the smile on Roy's face. Gets the crowd fired up.
And he was great at it.
Yeah, good cadence,
I've criticized others. You know, Marino was terrible at it last season, but JP brought it.
Juan Pierre's a guy that will make you smile every time you see him, right?
I'm smiling.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju.
All my lips.
Does Juan Pierre make all your lips smile when he appears? Can we just analyze for a second? I believe making this a little more macro for the audience. Let's just say, hypothetically, that they're not paying attention to any Panthers hockey.
What idiots.
They're paying attention to hockey in general, and they know that over the last 2 years, Boston was better last year as a 1 seed, and then in a 7-game series, Florida beats them as an 8 seed. Then they play 5 times this season, and Boston wins every time. And then you get to a place where the first game is 5-1, and the second game is 6-1, and you're saying Florida's just the better team.
Yep.
Okay, I understand that you're saying that they are.
One more point this year.
And that you guys believe that they are. That's correct. Over the regular season, they had, and again, they had one more point than the Bruins, and the Bruins beat them all 5 times they played this year. So if
Twice in overtime.
If I put any
3-0-2.
playoff series in front of you that you're not paying attention to, and I say to you, one of the games went 5-1 this way, and the other one went 6-1 this way, and then the homers appeared and said the second game was the more representative one. The first one doesn't count at all. It doesn't matter. The second game is truer. You guys would dismiss that person saying you're ignorant. You haven't been watching this team all year.
Yeah, but what I would say also is the Panthers were off for a week before that game 1. The Panthers also played their worst offensive game that maybe I've seen this year. Aaron Ekblad probably had the worst game of his career. And so if I'm going to weigh the 2 games, the way that we played last night was so much closer to what we've looked like the entire season. That game 1 is not at all what we've looked like the entire season. And matter of fact, you go to the entire first-round series for Boston against Toronto, I mean, they couldn't score against Toronto. And all I'm hearing going into the game last night is how Swayman this, Swayman that, riding a hot goalie, brick wall, ran his ass early in the third period. All this talk about Swayman and the Panthers can't solve him, and he hasn't given up more than 2 goals in a game this postseason. Now, we got a goalie situation in Boston. Now we got a problem. I'm sorry. The Panthers are in control right now. You know what? I'm not sorry. Panthers are in control right now.
How do we feel about the FU Boston chants going in the arena? I don't know. It felt a little mean to me.
It's fine.
I don't like it.
It's fine.
Crass.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't saying FU. We were saying the word, Dan. And there's children there. I don't know. I didn't like it.
They were doing the same thing in Madison Square Garden last night.
Yes, they were.
I didn't like that either.
There weren't any kids there, though.
So you think it's too coarse, that we don't need...
I was just in it. I'm like, look, we're up 6-1. Like Zaz says, I think this is going to be... I don't think we're going to struggle in this series too much. It just felt a little beneath us.
So there was fighting going on the ice. You were upset about the words.
That's right.
Well, we're used to that, though. We're used to the fighting on the ice.
Did you apologize and take it back 1 second later?
Yeah, really stupid to apologize for that because I wasn't sorry at all.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
You're finding you're very you're amped up. You're emotional. You're
I love it. It's my drugs. These playoff games, Dan, are my drug. I'm a fiend for it. The anxiety I feel during these games. I'm on drugs. I want to be high all the time.
You're crazed, and you came in here a great deal hotter in volume than you did the last time that you were here. It's clear that playoff hockey is sort of soaked into everything.
That team traded away a year ago. Yeah.
Yo, but I already told you. Enough bringing that up. I already told you I was wrong, and I'm glad that I was wrong about it. I repented for that. I was wrong. Stop bringing it up. It's enough already.
Let me see the Jaylen Ramsey video last night, because this is always a cool thing that happens locally when all the sports teams start gathering around because they want to be near some of the action that's heightened stakes. Let's see Jaylen Ramsey last night at the Panther game.
I'm gonna go home. Look, everybody clearing out. Clearing out their suite. They need to go home somewhere.
Those losers.
Get y'all ass
What is second place to coolest sound in sports than a prolonged goal horn at home? Like, what finishes in second place to a sound that will move you and will escalate however it is that you're already feeling about your team?
Crack of a bat for a home run.
The long horn followed by Mamba number 5. Oh, what a night.
Rohan, you've been very patient back there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for writing the article in GQ Sports about Jimmy Butler. Welcome to the show. What is the synopsis for people who no longer read?
Drank some coffee with Jimmy Butler. He was really enjoying himself.
How is the coffee?
I think it's great. Shout out to his personal barista Rodney. That guy's whipping up some great coffee.
Talking about Rodney.
How many did you drink?
I had 3 coffees totaling 6 shots of espresso before lunch. I was sweating, truly sweating my ass off the entire time. Jimmy Butler was like at 8 cappuccinos though before noon, which was truly absurd.
Woof.
He just drank a lot of coffee. I got to follow him around, hang out with him at F1, and then at the very end, just asked him a little bit about his basketball career.
Just a little bit, though.
Just a little bit.
That was after he roasted you for being sweaty.
Yes, that's after the first thing he did when he saw me was, "Why are you sweating like that?" Before even like shaking my hand or anything, he's like, "Why are you sweating like that?"
And why were you?
Listen, I don't get chauffeured in golf carts from my car to the paddock area. You know, I don't get the Jimmy Butler treatment.
You were roughing it like a journalist.
Exactly.
Out there.
You know,
that's not true because I actually was walking through the paddock and I saw Jimmy Butler and I was like, oh, it's Jimmy Butler. And then right next to him is Rohan and I was like, Ro, what's up? And he gave me a hug and was like, hey, good to see you. I gotta go. Big time. He didn't even introduce me to Jimmy. Kept walking.
Sweaty
with
hug.
Jimmy.
A sweaty hug.
It was a little sweaty, but
I have an image to maintain. You know, I don't
had no time.
I don't want to
for
be
me.
seen mingling with the normal media folk.
With our show.
Yeah, exactly.
Rodney.
There it is. He's got his personal barista.
Yes, Rodney's there working in the Big Face coffee truck, which was on site in the VIP area of this F1 race. So Jimmy went there to hang out. Oh God! Can we go back to What's Up, Doggy instead of Rodney?
So he wants to stay in Miami.
What's up, doggy?
Towards the end of the day, I asked Jimmy, I said, is the plan still to retire in a Miami Heat jersey? You know, I did a story with him before the season. That's what he said. I said, is that still the plan? And he said, yes, for sure. You know, no. That's no equivocation, right? That's not with equivocation. Unequivocally said, yes, for sure. I want to stay in Miami. And then went on to say that, you know, he loves Miami. He feels like the city's embraced him. The team's embraced him. And that, you know, his motivation is to bring a championship back to the city.
What's up,
Rodney?
Anything else that you took from this because you were spending the weekend with him before Pat Riley says, if you're not playing, how about you shut your mouth?
Yes. I mean, I think what I took away, you know, in addition to the basketball stuff is how much he seems comfortable. You know, you see a lot of famous people milling around that paddock at the F1 races, and they're all in their little bubbles kind of moving from VIP area to VIP area as quickly as possible, whereas Jimmy's like stopping with people. They're asking about basketball. They're asking about coffee. He's stopping to take photos. He's goofing around a lot. I think he seems very comfortable in that environment.
Rodney.
And you think what of what happened with Pat Riley? I don't imagine that lands particularly well.
I'm sure it's not fun. I think what I make of it is that there's a lot of frustration. I think there's a lot of frustration, obviously from the organization about how the season ended and just how the season went. You know, the Heat, we don't have to get too nerdy about it, but they're like one of 3 or 4 teams all year that only had 2 lineups that played over 100 minutes together. I think it was an incredibly frustrating season for everyone involved, and I think Jimmy Butler likely feels the same way. You know, he wanted to be out there in the first round. I know the comments he made a stir, but, you know, what he said to me was, we can't go out like that. You know, I don't think he enjoys losing to Boston in 5 games, and I don't imagine, of all people, Pat Riley enjoys losing to Boston in the manner that they did. So what I make of it is just kind of a lingering frustration of how this whole year went.
I do think it's kind of funny the way that a lot of media that isn't around the Heat
often has perceived what Riley said.
They
in
act
the
like he doesn't do this
confrontation.
every
Not only
season.
does he do it every postseason,
but
he does it privately too.
Well, he does it privately, he does it publicly, and particularly with Jimmy Butler. The thing that Jimmy has said that he loves about the Miami Heat is that Spo and Riley are as insane and competitive as he is. This is nothing new from year to year.
Remember when they had the big argument in 22 on the court, and Spoelstra said to him, "I knew you were a crazy mother effer." As they're being separated, you know?
Exactly.
Like unless you're super sensitive, you're gonna come back and you're gonna take it as a challenge.
He told Goran Dragic that he sucked right after he traded for him.
Like Jimmy loves. I think the parts that he didn't like about being in Minnesota was the rest of the team was soft. Like he was the
LeBron
only
did
one who
not
was
take it as
crazy
a
person.
challenge. LeBron
Right.
left.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
He's a
right.
different guy than
That's
Jimmy.
right. He was sensitive about it.
Yes.
And Jimmy, I think I think he likes the confrontation. I think he likes the uneasiness that can be that could surround this situation. We've seen it. Like I think he respects it. I think he respects it.
I would argue that most athletes, when they end up in other environments, are a bit surprised about how brittle people are to correction, to criticism, to confrontation. Those three things, I think every time I talk to athletes about them entering new workspaces, they think everyone's soft because the language is aggressive, and Ray Allen and others have said of the Heat, just don't be in your feelings. Your feelings don't matter on anything. You care deeply about playing basketball 20 years of your life, and now Spo says you get 6 minutes tonight. Don't get in your feelings about it. He's got to make difficult decisions about who gets to play and who doesn't get to play. The thing that I will tell you, though, that you might be underestimating, even if that confrontation is private, is the combination of, now we're talking about money. People are bargaining privately and publicly about what he's worth in his old age, and he is a proud man. And you've just escalated a furnace of conversation around him and his money and told him to shut his mouth. Saying that privately and saying that publicly are two different things. Just because the circumstances have changed. Now we're arguing and negotiating about money. It's not, I'm already under contract, I'm secure here, and I know what my finances are guaranteed. I'm telling you that extra step, if you guys are telling me that Jimmy's good with that, I'm telling you that people can get into their feelings when it's not the huddle, and now we're at the bank deposits.
But you think Jimmy's hurt? Because I'm kind of with Zaz, though. I think he thrives
I'm just saying
this.
it can be received differently by a proud adult male
Sure.
once you're now making the business in public, and that business in public has some things that can be turned into, can turn into public criticism and negotiating and disrespect if you are in your feelings. You know how people say all the time in sports, they say, it's not personal. It's not personal. It's just business. And all the time I see people get their feelings hurt because two people have different definitions of what personal feels like when there's money involved.
Listen, that's totally fair. And obviously, look, I was with Jimmy before these comments happened. I can't personally imagine.
Speak for him, Rohan.
Yes. I personally just can't imagine that they would make him do a total 180. You know, I've seen some people speculate, he's going to demand a trade and things like that. I would be completely floored if something like that were to happen as a result of this. I also personally think that, look, it's like you guys have mentioned, it's not the first time Pat Riley has used that end-of-year press conference to send a message to his players in a very public fashion, and he kind of does it in a way when he knows they're going out the door. I think that's been, and you could say, a hallmark of his career in some ways, challenging people publicly. I do also think, I want to put this out there, I think it would be crazy for them not to extend Jimmy Butler. I think people have already very quickly forgotten where this franchise was in the 3 or 4 years before he got there, that in-between period between LeBron and him leaving versus what happened before Jimmy Butler got there. I tried to ask Pat Riley about that. I tried to ask him, I was like, do you think you guys exceeded your expectations, Jimmy Butler? I asked him this last August, and I don't think he's willing to go that far because he has high expectations for Jimmy. He said that's what happens when you sign a star player, but I would argue that no superstar, quote unquote, in the NBA has done more with less than Jimmy Butler has in the last 5 years. And there's always conversation about, do we extend him? When I look at the rest of the East, that has upgraded significantly in the last few years, and it feels like the Heat have not done that for Jimmy, despite how far he's taken them.
I think Jimmy and this Heat team has maxed out. I think it's okay if the Heat move on from Jimmy Butler. I'm good with that, and I think Riley's good with that. Do you?
Another reason why I'm skeptical of that is Riley knows that this is a star-driven league, and I think he at the end of the day knows what it was like when they didn't have a star. I mean, he told Dan about what it was like when Hassan Whiteside and Dion Waiters were the team leaders, and you saw how if he thinks he's frustrated now, you can all remember how frustrated he was then. There are very few players in the NBA that move the needle. Very few. Jimmy Butler's proven now in multiple playoffs that he can be a guy who moves the needle. And if you have that player, and Pat Riley's shown in his history as an executive, a coach, he does whatever he can to hold on to that player for as long as possible.
Riley indeed called Jimmy Butler the biggest needle mover on the team. But, I mean, to Rohan's point, do you know who was there during that in-between period?
Rodney.
Can we get some information on where this needle is? Give me the needle. The needle that gets moved is where? Which needle do you think of when they're?
It's like a meter.
It's a sound.
Right?
It's a sound needle.
It's like the New York Times election meter. Yeah.
Like
a
gas meter. It's like empty, full.
It's not a Richter scale. What are we all imagining
like this,
the
though,
same?
Dan.
But are we all imagining the same needle? Are all of us? Do visually all of us?
It's a semicircle and it's moving left to right.
So like on
exactly.
the far left is like there's no fans coming to the game, and then the needle moves and it's like the fans are there, they're 30 minutes late, and
It's
they're
more like
leaving
the sound
10 minutes
meter.
early.
You know when you're like, all right, let's go, clap your hands, and
That thing goes up regardless.
Yeah, it's
does.
not very accurate.
It
though,
does.
that one.
But this thing that we're all imagining that is the same instrument, does it have a name for all of us? Does it look the same? Is it the same color? This needle that you have Jimmy Butler moving, when you say it's a gas tank, is that we're all imagining the same needle? And I'm asking you again, that particular needle we're imagining, what does that actually measure?
I think it measures, can this team actually win a championship at the end
No,
of the day?
I mean the actual instrument. I mean,
Championship needle.
I like yours better, I think. But see, for you, it's a championship needle. Can it get all the way over into the red where the champion? It's gotten
been so close.
It's gotten very close. It's gone very close, but it hasn't gotten there.
Correct, and it was nowhere close when Hassan Whiteside was like the highest paid player on the Heat. That was the needle was like defunct. It was
That's
it
where
needed
the
to be
Marlins
revived.
needle
Yeah.
is
Right,
now.
but you want the needle to move a little bit more, all the way to full, and Jimmy can't get there.
I think, but you could argue that he could get there with the proper pieces around him. I think would be my argument.
But wouldn't one of them have to be better than he is? Is it the proper pieces, or is it a proper piece brought in and, hey, Donovan Mitchell, you got to be better than Jimmy, or whoever the proper piece is, we need you to be better than Jimmy, because this decline is going to have fewer free throws and more three-point attempts, because that's how players age, and he's entering a dangerous age.
I agree the window is short, okay? We can all agree the window is short. The history is not kind to players over 35. Does that player need to be better than Jimmy Butler? I'm not totally sure. I think they have to be the perfect fit, and that's not easy. But you look around the NBA right now, like if you gave Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, and it pains me to say this, if you gave Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo Derek White, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis, I think Eric Spoelstra could coach that team to 65 wins, and they'd be a title favorite. If you gave them Jaden McDaniels, Mike Conley, and Karl Anthony Towns, I think you're looking at a team that wins 65 games and can compete for a championship. Those aren't your conventional stars. I wouldn't say any of those guys individually are better than Jimmy Butler, but what they are perfect fits that amplify what your best players do.
But if it's a small window, why extend him? When you don't have to, you've already extended him. You don't have to extend him.
Listen, you don't have to extend him. That's just how this works, okay? We can, to Dan's point, we can say it's a business.
What happened to contract?
That is just how this works, okay? That's how this works. That's why Kobe gets a sweetheart deal at the end of his Lakers tenure. That's why LeBron is going to get a contract until he's 42 years old.
That's why Kirk Cousins got $100 million.
It's why Kirk Cousins got $100 million.
He's a good quarterback. Hold on.
Yeah. You extend
Jimmy Butler's a good basketball player.
You extend him because you know the alternative is Hassan Whiteside.
I really would like to get to the point where our video elements work so well with our staff that at some point while Rohan was talking, we panned slowly over to Jeremy, and he's like the coach no one can understand in Waterboy in the stands, shirtless and rubbing his nipples
love him,
with
Dan.
his hands. Like
I love him.
I saw that look on your face. Your face. I looked at your face, and what I saw was you shirtless, pawing at your chest because you were so happy with every syllable he uttered.
Yeah, I fell in love as that happened.
Both of you go sit in the penalty
I
box.
think I just
What?
became a
Both
Heat
of
fan
you.
too.
Rohan,
I'm going too.
You're all of you.
Finally.
Rohan.
He's our guest. All of you out of here.
I drove all the way from
Panthers.
Broward.
Wow.